So then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to RaceSpotTV for a different kind of post-race show here for the Classic IndyCar series from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Unfortunately, due to other broadcasts, we have had to do this as a separate video, but what we have just seen is 220 laps of very close, very close and very exciting racing from all involved. Michele Constantini being able to come away with I believe his first win of the season. Lucas Laville, our championship leader, finishing in second, and Robert Grosser has to be the biggest news of the race. He unfortunately, his championship is slipping away from his hands. He finished his 12th today after 2 incidents, and what could possibly be the biggest game changer in this championship. And he is joining me today in the paddock for what is going to be a post-race interview. So Robert, first of all, until that accident, how was your race going? As we just did see you about halfway through had a little bit of a moment where you just weren't up at the front.
Yeah, actually it was a very good race. I mean, I started from a pole position, had some very nice battles for the lead early on, and also the different kind of strategy didn't change too much. I had some very nice battles in the middle of the race with Randy, which I really enjoyed, and but I was always all the time in touch of the top 5, and everything was going as planned. And then at one restart I was even able to get P2 and was then taking the lead on the next restart and was really confident to score a very nice result. But then I had a little bit of a contact with Lucas, unfortunate, but this stuff can happen, of course. So that ended my chance for a decent result, actually.
Yeah, and obviously we saw that contact with Lucas. You and Lucas, every time you seem to race, you always race cleanly and you always race really well together, actually. And both myself and Will Vincent, who I was joined by in the commentary booth for the race, actually we were surprised that contact happened. Do you think Lucas maybe just made a small mistake or carried a bit too much speed out of the corner? How do you see it from your seat? How do you think that accident played out?
Yeah, without seeing the replay, what I felt in the cockpit was it was the first turn after the restart. I had a little bit of a wiggle when coming out of turn 2, and I think Lucas was just preparing to get a good run for turn 3 later on and wasn't really reacting to me. He was just focusing on getting a good run out of turn 2 and then touched the rear of my car, as simple as that.
Yeah, and obviously that's just an unfortunate incident, but we did see, and also we saw Lucas come down and he actually took a drive-through penalty just after that. And did you know he was going to do that, or was it a case of actually, do you think he sort of took a bit of blame and wanted to penalise himself for what happened?
Yeah, I was surprised to see him going to the pits, because actually we always investigate the incidents post-race and not during the race. But I actually know what kind of sportsman Lucas is, and fair play means really everything for him. So I had the feeling, I haven't talked to him yet, but I have a feeling that he kinda blamed himself, penalized himself, because he felt bad about the incident and don't want to win a championship, maybe because of this contact. I think that's the way Lucas was thinking in this very moment.
Okay, so Robert Grosser, obviously you are the organiser of this series. You organised the Classic IndyCar series. Do you want to give any fans to shout-outs? Who got it done for you today, and what was for you probably a game-changing race in the championship?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank you, Jack and Will, for broadcasting this race and broadcasting all the remaining races, the 4 races that have yet to come. I would like to thank our title sponsor, Logical, who is giving us a good support during the whole season. Also, Joel Real Timing. And also, of course, to my co-admin Lucas, who takes a lot of work away from me and is doing an awesome job. And finally, I really have to thank all the drivers in this series. It's always a pleasure driving with them. They are showing up every 2 weeks, making great races, great grids. It's always a pleasure to share the track with those guys.
So then, ladies and gentlemen, that was Robert Grosser, driver of the #1 machine in the Logical Innovative Engineering Classic IndyCar Series, and also the organiser of this series. And also, I am joined by Randy Shoemake, our 5th place finisher today here at New Hampshire Speedway. And Randy, we saw you right up the front there. We saw you battling for, at some points even the lead of this race. Just, was it a case of the car didn't have the pace to stay up the front there against the likes of Michel Constantini and Lucas Laville?
I was never able to pass Michel. Had a good pace against the rest of the competitors at most points of the races. I didn't know when Lucas and Robert had their contact. I thought that I may have damaged the front end of my car. Went into the pits. It didn't show that I had any damage, but I hit him pretty hard in the the back straightaway during their incident. And if I had known that there was no damage, I think I should have stayed out in front and gave up too much track position.
And obviously, just give us a driver's insight as well, because obviously, I know for a fact you didn't have a crew chief in this race. So how was the strategy changing throughout the race, knowing that you might actually hit the time limit, but not know on what lap you'll hit the time limit? I mean, we were only 5 laps away from full distance, so how is it for a driver knowing that you've got to design a strategy that is going to work for not only a 2-hour time limit, but a 225 lap race?
I tried to always keep in mind what fuel I would need for the 225. I was aware when we had 12 and a half minutes to go that we were going to go to time and how many laps that was. And so I estimated that we would get to 221 or 222. And you said, I think you just said we only got to 220. So close, in that strategy. Once I was set up for a full tank to run to 225, there was nothing I could do as yellows came out.
Yeah, so Randy, go on, sponsor shout out, who got it done for you today?
Tim Miller again, all on the ovals. Tim has always helped me out. I appreciate all the help the guys in the league give in providing setups, but I was very, very far off the pace. I felt like Tim Miller gave me an opportunity. This is the second time, and I would have been a rolling chicane had it not been for him, so I've certainly got to thank him. Also want to thank you and Will for broadcasting the race, and looking forward to the remaining season. JRT and Logical and Robert and Lucas do such a fantastic job, and we're just so appreciative to have such a high caliber of racing to participate in.
So then, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, I highly recommend you go and watch the Classic IndyCar Series race that we have just had here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, because it was one of the most exciting races I think I have ever seen in the history of me covering this series, and probably also in the history of this series. The championship got turned on its head. We had people who started in P number 15 on the grid who were coming up and who were leading this race because of what happened to other people and what happened to other cars. And this caution field race, I think, has definitely made this championship a lot more exciting. Lucas Laville is going to come away from here with a big advantage in the championship. He finished second, his championship rival Robert Grosser only being able to bring away a 12th position. So I recommend 2 weeks time, 27th of August, we're going to be at Sonoma on the IRL layout for the next round of the Classic IndyCar Series. But from myself, Jack Stiles, from Will Vincent, who broadcasted the race just earlier on this evening, and from Logical Innovative Engineering, Joel Realtime, and this has been a production of the Classic IndyCar Series post-race interviews and post-race show on RaceSpotTV, and we look forward to seeing you next time.